Hey everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. Our very special guest coming to us from upstate New York is Lee Wilkof. He is an extraordinary actor, director, writer, and so much more. Tony nominated, as well as Drama Desk and Obie nominated as well. We're going to talk about his incredible career. We have so much to share with you too. Projects he's working on. He's appeared on Broadway, Off-Broadway, regional, and resident theaters for 5 decades. He originated the role of Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors and also Sam in Assassins. He has been seen in over 100 television episodes and films for some of your favorite TV shows too. We'll talk about some of that. The recipient, again, of an Obie and SAG Award, nominated for a Tony Award for his performance in Kiss Me, Kate. He's been nominated for 3 Drama Desk Awards, and he also directed the film No Pay, Nudity, starring Gabriel Byrne and Nathan Lane. He's the winner of the New Yorker Cartoon Caption Contest, number 317. He also plays banjo and sings in the band 20 Mule Team Weiner Train. Yes. And guess what? He is joining us right now. Oh, I want to let you know as well, his lovely wife is a baker and a painter. Oh, no, I think his daughter is a baker and his wife is a fabulous painter as well. Yes. I tell you, he's surrounded by love and art, and he's been doing this for a long time. It is my honor and pleasure. And we welcome all the lovedies, the viewers who are watching around the world right now as well. We'll take a look at some of your fabulous comments. Keep commenting. Don't forget as well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would absolutely love that. Jim Masters here. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. Good to have you guys with us. It's time now to welcome our very special guest from New York. Lee Wilkof is here. Welcome, Lee. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. You can't see it, but nice to see you.
Now, I was expecting, you know, with all the flash and dash and all that you've been involved in as a Broadway performer, lots of blinking lights and strobes and glitz all behind you. But I guess when you're in that world all the time, a nice, clean, beige wall behind you is very soothing and relaxing. And it's a nice contrast to all of the staging and sets. You've got an outlet.
Light switch. Yeah, we just moved.
That's not just any light switch either.
We haven't actually moved into the house yet. I'm in my office. We are renovating this house, and luckily we have a little loft space above the garage of this lovely place we moved to a couple months ago. So yeah, my wife painted it beige. It was a child's room, and there were clouds on the ceiling, and I actually took the wallpaper off. The first kind of skilled thing I've done with a property ever in my life. My wife is really good at that stuff, but I stink at it.
What was the original wallpaper like? Was it something from the 50s or 60s?
No, because they built the house in the in the 80s, so it was 80s kid stuff, and it was just endless little pieces of paper.
Disney characters and
no, characters that were unrecognizable. But now it's my office, and I love it.
And it's nice because, you know, you have a little bit of a getaway there north of the city. Mm-hmm. So you can be in the city whenever you need to, mm-hmm. but exactly. You can get away to the country. Mm-hmm. And how has that been for you, you know, during the craziness of this whole pandemic and everything, being in the country? Does it give you more solace and tranquility so you can really concentrate on projects that you're working on and things of that nature?
You know what? We've been doing so much renovation, and me driving to Lowe's or Home Depot. I mean, I have been writing. I've been writing something for the whole time we've been here, but it's only been a couple months. Most of the pandemic, we went to Columbus, Ohio, where my daughter lives, to help her open a second bakery, and then all of a sudden, COVID showed up, and we stayed in Columbus for almost 2 years because there was no work for me. And my daughter, the second business didn't open because of COVID. And then we went back to the city, and we don't want to live in the city anymore. I moved there in 1973. So what year is it? 2000. It'll be 50 years next year, and we always, both of us, dreamed of living in the country, and we did it.
Yeah.
We have I've never had one. I've wanted one my whole life. A lot of people have said, "Be careful what you wish for." I got a swimming pool.
You got a swimming pool.
Yeah, but it's covered now. But in the, I'm going to swim hopefully every day. But people tell me you're busy cleaning it and you'll be sorry. And I'm going to use it every day in the summer months, and I can't wait.
That is,
so we're really lucky to be up here and be, as you said, the proximity to the city. And I've been a couple times. I went to see a couple shows, and now I've stopped seeing shows for the time being. I'm really sad about that. I just don't want to go to the theater now, but that's sad.
No,
I haven't been. Assassins, though. I saw the revival of Assassins, which you mentioned I originated.
Yes.
That's one of the last shows I saw. And an amazing show called Kimberly Akimbo, which is just fantastic.
Mm.
And that just closed the other day.
But not really have been going into the city as much as well. Me too. I haven't been in there in quite a while, just with everything going on, and it's just been so, busy and everything. It's just been, what have you, before we talk about all the cool things you've done and things you're working on, and you've had a prolific career. I mean, you're beloved in the industry and renowned and highly respected. What are some things that you've learned about life and about Lee during the time that we've been experiencing the last 2 years or so?
Well,
it brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it?
Something in my eye.
Yeah, that was a perfect timing.
COVID started, I would say, like February of 2020, and in March, I lost my closest friend. His name, Mark Blum, a wonderful man, a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
So that was shattering for me.
Yeah.
Mark and I spoke. We met. We did a play at Manhattan Theater Club. But I think it was about 22 years ago. We knew each other like very peripherally, but we shared a dressing room. It was an amazing dressing room. Nathan Lane, Mark, Louis Stadlin, Larry Pine, and myself. And for me, when I do a show, I either like my own dressing room, or if I'm going to be in a dressing room, I want a good one with lots of laughs.
Yes.
And I met Mark and I bonded, and then I spoke to him 5 days a week for 20 years, sometimes 6, sometimes 7 days a week.
So like brothers.
That's how it started.
Like brothers.
We were like brothers. He didn't have a brother. Maybe I was. He had other friends he was close with, but we were very close. I still reach for the phone to speak to him. So that's how COVID started for me. And then shortly after that, I was diagnosed with throat cancer.
I know you mentioned.
And I can be a little high strung, I think, people think. But the throat cancer, I was very kind of zen and stoic about it. And thank God I don't have it anymore.
Yes.
And what I learned was I'm still impatient, but what it's brought me really a cliche, a day at a time, and be in the moment. I mean, these are universal things that I just kind of thought I was living, but now I am. And I've gotten a lot done. I wrote a musical. I wrote another screenplay. I started my memoirs. I've been really busy with that and moving. We moved upstate during this. And I'm really feeling it. And I'm sad that it's COVID that is slightly responsible for it, because I look at my friend and one day he didn't have it, and I mean, this was before vaccines. Now, thank God, I'm vaxxed and boosted, and this, you know, there's still. I don't need to talk about COVID all the time, but you gotta be in the moment. It's really challenging, unbelievably challenging time for people in our business. Shows closing, but everybody's that's conscious. There are people that I believe that are not. I see them on the street. They're just not that conscious about what's going on. And then there are many, many people who are conscious and they're trying to navigate through this and stay, I don't know, stay decent. Because I think it's really important to be decent now and really consider other people. It's easy to just kind of like live in. We are all, a lot of us are living in like this box because we're staying home, we're watching TV, we have our routine, but we're still part of this, you know, the world. And it's a tricky time. I haven't figured it out, but I'm grateful for every day. Mm-hmm. And I think before that, I was like, not that conscious of it. I'm sorry to get so serious.
Were you always just on the go and got to get to the next thing, and we got to do this and we got to check that box?
I was always like, what's next? My foot was always like, what's next, rather than what I just being.
What's in front of you now?
Yes, and if I wasn't working, which is, you know, actors, we don't work. We don't work more than we work. Right. And so I had to kind of it took me a long time to come to terms with it. I mean, I'm at the end of my career. I mean, I'm in Act 3. I'm not at the end, but I'm in Act 3, and I've had to make peace with it. Otherwise, I will drive myself crazy. And I'm trying not to. Life is too precious to make yourself nuts.
So, in a way, as tragic and horrific as a lot of this has this also been a gift to you in certain ways as well, Lee? It sounds like there have been some gifts bestowed upon you that you have tapped into that can really be a positive thing in your life and in your world. Taking time to breathe and appreciate and reboot.
I think the cancer was really the thing that was really the not I wouldn't call it a wake up call. It's like I'm going to say something really kind of screwed up. I would say that, you know, to my wife, if I got a stomach ache, I would say, oh my God, maybe I have cancer. It was almost like became a joke, and then I got cancer. And it has affected me. I cannot sing for a sustained amount of time. I can sing again. For a while, I couldn't sing at all. But I don't think I can. I'm not sure. It's not like I'm going to get a show and I play, you know, somebody offered. Actually, I got asked to do Tevye, and not a show, but a couple concerts. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But if I get a musical, if I do another musical, usually a guy my age, unless it's the lead, you're in it, you sing once. I think I can do that. But I may have lost my singing voice. And it's not just about, I may never do another musical. I like to sing. I play the banjo, you mentioned. I say I'm in a band. I played with these guys twice over 30 years, and we called ourselves 20 Mule Team Weiner Train. And
it is Weiner. I said Weiner, but it is Weiner. Yeah.
There used to be a guy in high school that would walk around, just say 20 Mule Team Weiner Train all day.
Really?
Kind of nuts. And I thought that was funny. So that's the name of the band. But I like to sing and play the banjo. And if I can never sing again with my banjo, that would break my heart. But I still kind of croak a little. And nobody made any guarantees. So if I don't sing again, a friend of mine, when I got cancer, he had cancer before. And again, I don't want to turn this into morbid. He said, accept and adapt. And man, that was like I held on to that during the 6 weeks of, I had, see this beard doesn't grow here anymore because I had radiation here. I had 6 weeks of radiation, and then when it's over, it's really uncomfortable. And I just had to accept it. I couldn't go away. You know, I had to go along with what was happening. And it's been hard for me to do that. It's been hard for me. And that's the hardest part for me of being an actor. It's like facing the reality of the business I'm in. And I've been unhappy a little bit, sometimes more than I needed to be, because I just didn't accept things as they came. And cancer, I got it, and if I didn't accept it, I had to. So it wasn't something that was that conscious, but that's
Fortunately, they found it early for
they
you
found it
too.
early, but the
Yeah.
good thing is that something good came of it. I don't know.
Well, what you're saying is very inspiring and empowering to somebody right now who might just have got that diagnosis today. And here you are, and you're meeting it head on, and you're, appreciative of everything around you. And none of us never know when we're going to be told anything is
Right,
happening in life. And,
right. I was
yeah,
one of those people that thought, never going to happen to me. It's never going to happen to me, but it did.
yeah. And you know what
It kicked me in the butt in a really good way, which is odd.
yeah, right, exactly. Which is where I'm on the flip side of it. I'm always trying to prevent problems before they happen.
Good.
Always trying to seal up the dam before the dam collapses. And then when the dam collapses, I'll say, damn it. And I'll be like, I don't understand. I did everything I could to stand there holding back the water, sealing it up, holding it back, and the thing broke anyway. And then I'll say, you know what? Well, at least it didn't flood the town. It just created some puddles. That's
Oh,
all.
that's a good way to look at it. That's a healthy way to look at it. Very good.
Got to be positive, right? You've got to be
Yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
Has it, all of this influenced your material going forward in any way?
Well, I'm being a little limited. Not that many things are coming my way, but I realize I used to just do anything that came my way, and I never said no to anything. And I've become a little bit more like life outside of having to work all the time is just as important, if not more important, than doing just anything that comes along. I'm not saying that many things come along, but I've become a little bit more patient, and I'm smelling the roses, and I've just kind of relaxed a little.
Yeah.
Go
Have
ahead.
you gone easier on yourself? Have you given yourself cut
Yeah.
yourself some slack now?
Yeah, I do. I try to. It's hard for me. I weigh on myself sometimes, but I try to be patient with myself, compassionate with myself. That's because I'm in therapy. I went into therapy. I mean, I was in therapy for many, many years, years and years ago, and then I hadn't been. And then when I got the cancer, I needed something. There was some group stuff offered, but it was very sporadic through the hospital. And I decided could use some therapy. And I've been doing it, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
He's a great therapist.
It's helping.
And I really enjoy it. Some days I don't want to do it, but I do it. But most days it's been really good. And today was my dad's. If he would have been alive, it would have been his 100th birthday. And I've been dealing a lot with.
He and Betty White.
Swear words here. I've been dealing with shit with my dad, and today was his 100th birthday, so I had a really good session today.
Wow. He and Betty White, right? What a week with that.
Oh, a lot of people have passed away the past couple of weeks.
Yes.
Sidney Poitier and Vette Mimieux and
Bob Saget.
Yeah.
And my dear friend Ronnie Spector from the Ronettes.
Oh, it's been just this year. It's just like,
it's been.
Anyhow.
So for you, Lee, as a young boy growing up in Canton, Ohio, there in the Midwest, tell us about some of those early inspirations that maybe you grasped early in the game as a kid that sort of pointed you in this direction of wanting to go into the arts and into entertainment and to be able to express yourself in the way that you do. How did any of that atmosphere in the Midwest and Ohio influence any of this?
I don't know what drew me to it, but I was drawn for some reason. In Canton, Ohio, we had 3 movie houses. The huge Palace, huge. I think it was a vaudeville house. It was really big. It was like the Winter Garden almost. It was just ornate and beautiful. And we had the Lowe's, which was a little secondary, a little smaller. And it was part of the Lowe's chain from years ago. And then the Ohio, which was a little sleazier. And I was drawn to the movies. I would get on a bus. My mom, I don't know why she trusted me. She wanted to get the hell rid of me. I'd get on the bus for 10 cents. And it would be about a 20-minute ride on the city bus. And I'd go to the movies. And I just was it almost didn't matter what was playing. It was just, I felt so comfortable and safe at the movies.
Yeah.
So I didn't go like, I gotta be in the movies. I was drawn to, I always kind of was drawn to really, I think, good at acting. I was really moved by it. And I also loved The Little Rascals on TV because it was kids. And
who was your favorite character on The Little Rascals?
Wow.
Spanky and...
Well, I love Darla.
Yeah.
Darla was like a cousin of somebody that I grew up with.
Oh, wow.
And I liked Buckwheat and Stymie and Porky. The kind of the secondary kids. Alfalfa was kind of, I liked him. He was annoying. But going to the movies was like, I'd go every Saturday, and I could go by myself because I felt, God, it was just like so magical. And I also, something very strange this was strange. I don't know where I got it. It's not like I watched the Bowery Boys. From the time I was like 5 or 6, I would tell people randomly that I was from Brooklyn, New York. Well, I didn't even go to Brooklyn, New York when I moved to New York. It's just like I knew of Brooklyn. It was something really exotic about it.
Yeah.
And then I've spent the last 26 years till we moved here upstate. I lived in Brooklyn, New York. I finally lived there. But I would tell people I was from Brooklyn, but I didn't. The first thing I did was in kindergarten. There was the kindergarten put on the Christmas pageant. And because I was the chubbiest in the class, who did I play? Santa Claus. So that's the first thing I did, but it wasn't like, I must be an actor. No, it never occurred to me. And then I did get involved a little bit. It was a very tight-knit Jewish community in Canton because there was lots of anti-Semitism in my town, a lot. Mm-hmm. So we were very tight. And the Jewish Community Center was like, we hung there, we hung hard there. And there was this woman there that did some shows. Pinkus the Peddler in Hanukkah Land. I was Pinkus.
You.
And I was probably about 10, maybe 11. And then that was the end of it. Nothing. Not in high school, not in the mixed choir. I kind of shut down. I wish I would have, because I could sing, and I could have been in some shows, I think. I auditioned my senior year for Mr. Roberts. And because it's all men. I think there's one woman in it. I figured, well, maybe I'll get in this. Everybody that they cast in it was played on some school sports team. They did not cast me. And then the week before it opened, they asked me, somebody got sick and they asked me to do it. And I said, you should have cast me originally. No, I will not do it. I was like, putz. I didn't do it. And then...
It's always a good word, isn't it?
and in college.
That's a Brooklyn word.
I was kind of lost in college. I went to school in Philadelphia for a year, and it didn't work out at Temple University. Transferred to Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati. And a brother of one of my friends there said he was auditioning for a one-act play in the theater department. He wasn't in the theater department. I said, that sounds kind of cool. Can I audition for something? I'm a communications major, whatever that meant. I still don't know what it meant. And I got cast in this one-act play. I have no memory of it, except we all wore plaid shirts. And I never left the theater department. Never. It became my home, the end of my sophomore year. And the hook was in. And I had a professor there that was leaving the same year I graduated. He was going back to New York. He said, I'll look after you. And I moved to New York, and it took a while for things to start happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you come to the big city from the Midwest, lights, camera, action, what?
Totally unprepared.
You felt unprepared.
Yeah.
So how long did it take once you planted your feet in the city for things to start to roll and people really started to notice your talent and your passion and enthusiasm for the craft?
I did it's always been hard to, it was a show. It was sketches. A group of us were cast. We had to improvise to be cast and sing. And it was sketches and songs. We would improvise at rehearsal, and then there would be there's a playwright named Jeffrey Sweet, and he would transcribe the good ones and turn them into scenes, and music was contributed songs by people like, there was one guy, I think what's his name? Alan Menken. And that's where I met Alan, but I didn't sing one of his songs. And the other people, I don't think anybody that's still writing music. So I just kind of, and I'm not a great improviser, but man, it just, every scene I was in, I scored, so to speak. I do not know. I was imbued with something. And it's long story short, I got great reviews. I have ambivalence about reviews, but they're useful for something like this. And I got a lot of attention. And Norman Lear, who was pretty in his heyday, must have read a review and came to see me, see it. But maybe me, because my reviews always stand out. And he came to see me because once it closed, it did not stay open long. It was also, by the way, it was produced by Roger Ailes.
The Roger Ailes.
Roger Ailes he produced a little, he managed people, he trained people to be media savvy. He trained politicians.
Right.
And one of the people that worked with him directed this thing called The Present Tense. So we closed, and Norman Lear flew me out to Los Angeles to audition for a pilot, and I didn't get it, but I went, I have an agent now, maybe I'll go out to LA.
Do you remember what the pilot was?
No.
Was it dramatic? Was it a sitcom?
No, it was a sitcom. It did not go. It was for like a Southern character or some kind of cowboy. I was really not right for it. Although now I believe I can play cowboys. Anyhow, I went back out. I have an uncle that lived 60 miles away in Ventura. He had a deli. I'd work for him by day and drive into LA for auditions. Gave myself 6 months, and then I'd split if I didn't get anything. It was like 5 months and 26 days, and I went on the Gong Show because I didn't want
Paris. Yes.
I dressed up like a Hasidic Jew, and I sang a song called Possum Pie, and I got gonged immediately.
You did?
Yeah.
Do you remember who the first one was that gonged?
Yeah, J.P. Morgan. And one of the lyrics in the song was, "Possum's got a taste all its own, not like coon or pussy. Peace right now would hit the spot, warm the cockles of my tushy." And she gonged me, and she said he was singing about possum, but he was thinking about beaver. And I got gonged. Literally, the next day, I got offered two pilots. One of them was Norman Lear's pilot, and one of them was a dramatic show based loosely on the movie Network.
Oh, yes.
And I wanted to be a dramatic actor, and I took that one. It was called W.E.B, W.E.B. We were the first show canceled that season, and the next day Norman Lear's show was canceled. So I would have gotten one more day of employment.
And you were as mad as hell and couldn't take it anymore.
And that was, I decided I moved into LA. I left my uncle's place and I stayed there and started working. I did the spinoff of I really believe, here's what I believe. Not about everybody, because there are some people, they don't think about these things, but there are people that when they start out in the business, they have an idealization of what the highest thing they can do. They're going to be a movie star and be rich, or they're going to make it in sitcoms, or they're going to be a theater actor, a dramatic actor on Broadway, or they're going to be in the ensemble. I know people that are very happy doing musicals their whole career, it seems like. I thought my destiny was going to be in sitcoms. Well, I did stuff. I never really did well in sitcoms with the audience. It's very fast.
Yeah.
And very slow. You gotta be there. It's very result oriented.
It's quick. It's Rodney Dangerfield. Bang, bang, bang,
right.
bang.
And I was not adept at it. And I did mostly like episodics. I played nerdy guys. I had really curly hair and bald and glasses, and I played nerdy guys. I did like one of my characters was named Harry Legs. This is the kind of dreck I was doing. I'm sorry.
Another great word, dreck.
And then I did an episode of Heart to Heart.
Yes, you did.
And Robert Wagner took a liking to me. I was supposed to just be on it one episode.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing like 14 of them. And then I got a call from somebody that I knew in New York. She said, "We're doing a musical at the WPA Theater, and would you come in? We want you to audition for the role of." It's called Little Shop of Horrors, based on this black and white movie, Roger Corman movie, which I grew up watching. I'd watch it. There was a guy in Cleveland, on the CBS affiliate, his name was Goulardi. His real name was Ernie
Ernie
Anderson.
Anderson, one of
Right.
my favorite voiceover
That's right.
announcers, the
He
voice of
moved to LA.
ABC, The Love Boat.
That's
Nobody
right.
could say it like him. So you
Well, he
knew
was
Ernie.
Goulardi, and his best friend moved out to LA,
Tim
Tim
Conway.
Conway.
Yes.
And his son is Paul Thomas Anderson. So
Yes.
Goulardi, but he would show horror movies and odd movies every Friday night on the CBS affiliate. And about 3 times a year, they'd show Little Shop. So I grew up watching it, this crazy movie.
Yes.
Because the black and white movie, I believe they made it in 2 days. So it was
I think that was Channel 5 in Cleveland. They worked for Channel 5 in Cleveland. Yeah.
He worked Channel 5 and Channel 8.
And Channel 8, yeah.
And so I was familiar with it. I went, boy, Little Shop of Horrors. What a cool idea for a musical. And I went in to read for the dentist. And I wore a toupee because I was trying in LA to audition for stuff and having hair. I never was cast with the toupee. But I walked in, and Alan Menken, who knew me from the other show, he saw me in the toupee, and he started to kind of crack up. And I got so embarrassed, I took it off. And Howard Ashman, I'm bald, Howard Ashman goes, well, you're a Seymour. So I went out in the hall and looked at the Seymour material. And then I got a call back like the next day. And it was between me, this is what I've been told, because there was a woman that was the assistant to Howard Ashman. And her name's Connie Grappo. And it was between me and Nathan Lane to play Seymour, to be cast as Seymour. And Connie Grappo, Howard's assistant, told him, I think Lee would be writer for it. Not better, but he's and Howard cast me, and Connie Grappo is my wife now.
That's right.
And I married her because she told him to cast me instead of Nathan. So if they'd have cast Nathan, maybe they'd be married. I don't know. But no, I met Connie on the show, and I got cast in it. And
what was it like being a part of it?
Well, rehearsal was strenuous and stressful and exciting. And I'd done a few musicals, certainly not Broadway, summer stock, and I'd sing a song. I had like 13 songs. It was exhilarating because it was so beautifully written, and the music and the lyrics were just to be. I knew I was in something special, but I just wasn't quite finding Seymour. And we were getting close. Like the singing did not daunt me. But finding who Seymour was, I just find not quite that way. But I was like over nerding it up. And I knew I was kind of like, they were not thrilled with, they were worried about me. I just could tell. And I was worried about me. And I decided I would call Howard's assistant. I thought she was cute, adorable. And also I knew she was very bright. And I had a feeling she could help me. So I called her at home. I don't know how I got her number. Could you work with me? The same day I called her, Howard said to her, I'd like you to work with Lee. We worked together, and she kind of took me off the track. I was just doing like physical stuff rather than really going in. I was just playing act. And Connie just beat that out of me. And it all started to come together literally within 2-3 days, and it needed to. And we went into tech, and we could tell it was really, we knew it was pretty special, but it just started to really come together. I remember going to a couple of casting directors' offices with flyers, Little Shop of Horrors, and they, okay, someone kind of like that. It's not like they kicked me out of their office. And we opened, and literally like 3 days later, I'm getting calls begging for tickets. It was the hottest show that I've ever been in when it was in its first incarnation at the WPA Theater, 99-seat theater. And you'd look out into the audience. If you should have been looking at the other actor, but if I look out in the audience, I remember Tommy Toon was sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
There was always celebrities, and of course, the reviews were ecstatic.
Yes.
Particularly for the show and for Ellen Green. And everybody wanted to move it to Broadway. And it was really exciting to be part of it. And I loved doing it every night. I loved it. I just loved singing Alan's music. And it was such a gift. And I had my wife on it, and I mean, it was just so much fun to do.
Yeah.
And I did it for 6 months in New York, and then we went to LA. I thought, okay, I'll do it in LA, and I'll get a sitcom. And did it for 6 months in LA, and then I came back to New York, and I covered. I'd go if the Seymour of the time for the next 5 years or 4 years or so. No, I think at a certain point I couldn't do it anymore because I was doing some other thing. I was the Seymour while they were on vacation. So I got to do it with a lot of different women. I did one rehearsal. I never did the show with her, but I did one rehearsal with Donna Murphy. She was the best, Audrey. And Connie then went directed it with Howard all over the world. And then we got married and we moved back to LA. I was chasing that LA thing so hard. And I just kept leaving New York. I got that show that I mentioned earlier, the present tense that Roger Ailes directed. I was kind of, I don't like to use these expressions. I was kind of hot for a second. And I left. I went to LA. And then Little Shop. I'm in this hottest show in New York. Go to LA. While I was in LA, I did do a production of Sweet Charity.
Yes.
Which, then went to San Francisco, and then it went to Broadway. So actually being on the West Coast somehow brought me to Broadway. And that closed. I did a few other shows back to LA. And then in 1992, thank you, whomever, my wife got into the Yale Drama School, and we moved back to East, and we never really have been back. What's that, 92?
Yeah. 30
years ago. So I've been back. And I've got to do some amazing things, Assassins and the Iceman Cometh, and those two things that I just mentioned because of Nathan Lane. I did Assassins because Nathan Lane did the original workshop. He was not available. So I got cast. And then the Iceman Cometh, I heard he was doing it in Chicago.
Assassins.
And this is
Assassins, yeah.
And I have to say that of all the shows I've ever done, people not that many people are asking me, what's your favorite thing you've ever done? And they think I'm going to go, well, of course, Little Shop of Horrors. Because this cast, I mentioned about a good dressing room. We had so much fun backstage, and we were so stimulated. It is so dark, and a journey that we each took on stage, the combination of the two, where you could let off steam backstage with all these people. I've never laughed so much with the cast.
Yeah. And
the combination and I had such a great role, and it was just, the combination was, and last year, 2021 was the 30th year. So we had a bunch of reunion shows, and we had one Patrick Cassidy, one of the Cassidy brothers.
Yeah.
He's running a theater now, and he's the artistic director of a theater in Tennessee. And he put together a 30th anniversary, and Steve Sondheim came, was part of it. It was a Zoom thing.
Yeah.
And that was really special to be around.
That is magic.
Steve Sondheim.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah. What is your memory and your feelings about Stephen Sondheim?
Well, when I did Assassins, my role, the role of Sam Byck, unlike Sam Byck, my performance, the role of Sam Byck is primarily these singular monologues and very little singing. Well, Steve wrote the music and the lyrics. So I didn't have a great deal of contact with him. And when I did, I was so intimidated by him, I would speak almost in gibberish. So that was a little embarrassing. And, but we connected, and he, I think he was pleased with what I did as Byck, and that was very satisfying to me. But there's a number that I'm in.
Want to get a glass of water?
Yeah,
go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll have one with you, and we'll toast. Cheers.
L'chaim. So there's a song, another national anthem, and it's the most singing that Sam Byck does. Where's my prize? So we did the album. After we closed, we did the album. We thought we were going to Broadway. When we all gathered a couple weeks after closing to do the album, we were told right before we started doing the album, we're not going to Broadway. And it was heartbreaking because we loved each other so much and loved doing the show. And this is it. We're going to do the album, which was now when you do a show album, you're lucky if you get 2 passes of a song.
Mm-hmm.
If you get to do it twice.
Yeah.
But we took our time. Well, the first number up was my number. Not my number, but the one that I sing the most. And I couldn't quite find it. I was nervous. It's the first number up. I hadn't done it for maybe a month. I wasn't finding it. There's this lyric, as I just said, where's my prize? Listen, listen, listen. And I couldn't get it. And finally, somebody, I think Jerry Zaks, the director, said, why don't you try like Jack Nicholson? And I went, listen. I can't do it now. My throat is...
Yeah.
Anyhow, they were very happy with it, okay? Steve Sondheim was not in the room with us where we were singing because he had broken his ankle. He had to be in the control room of where we were recording.
Yeah.
And I went in there afterwards to get his blessing, if God willing. And I go in and Steve Sondheim says to me, well, it's not that easy for you non-singers. What he meant was, we think, my wife has convinced me that I am a character actor who can sing, but I am not a trained singer. And I think that's what he meant. I'm not
right.
a singer. I'm not Judy Kuhn. I'm just not a singer. But he was not being... He just was saying to me, you got it, but it took you a while, okay? But it was like, ah! Anyhow, then several years later, there was, are you familiar? I'm not that familiar with it, and I barely remember it, even though it was really special. I did a workshop of a very early show of his called The Frogs.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They did it at Yale in the swimming pool. That's what it's famous for. But I did it with Nathan Lane, and I think he brought me along to play like his sidekick, and I had a song in it. Now, Steve Sondheim was not involved in any of the rehearsal, but he came to see the workshop, the final reading, and I sang a song, and he did come up to me and he said, "Lee, you sang that beautifully." And Stephen Sondheim, I know this from the bottom of my heart. He's not going to blow smoke, you know. He's not going to say it unless he means it. So he told me that I sang a song beautifully.
Wow.
His song, that means the world to me.
Yes.
Because, you know, it's beyond master.
Yeah.
Almost, I've worked with two people I consider like true geniuses. Sorry, everybody else, that I'm not including you in this. I had the good fortune to work with Bob Fosse and Stephen Sondheim. Those men, geniuses, and there was something similar about both of them. Steve and Bob Fosse's choreography, even the moment where you're not moving, has purpose, and he knows what that is for. And Steve, every note has purpose, and even every breath has purpose. And that was the similarity between the two of them. And to me, that was so genius. It was so brilliant. They were so brilliant. It's you know, Steve Sondheim once in a people compared him to Shakespeare.
Yes. Yeah. You mentioned the Iceman.
Yeah, I got to work with him, and
That's
an unbelievable blessing. Just it was very special for me.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the Iceman Cometh too, as well. What was it like being a part of that?
Absolutely so rich and dark, and having to kind of take a journey internally, and it was very difficult. First of all, it's 4 hours long. I think it's 4 hours and change. It's like four and a half hours. And I would say all but 40 minutes of it, my character is asleep. My character's got his head down on a table for all but a half hour.
Really?
But you're awake, but you're not pretending, you're asleep. Actually, every night I would fall asleep for about 10 minutes at a certain point. There was no way that I wouldn't wake up, because the man that sat next to me the entire play, Brian Dennehy, he would pound on the table as his action, and not to wake me up.
Yeah,
I would never, ever possibly. And I didn't, it was so technically, and then once the show was over, I think we did it for 14 weeks. And once the show was over, I couldn't stand up straight for a couple months. I went to chiropractors, and it just, my body was, because I'm like this.
Yeah.
Every night.
Hunchback of Notre Dame, yeah.
But I'd always wanted to do an O'Neill play, and it was all about it. My character was a hopeless alcoholic.
Yeah.
I have a beer once in a while. I'm not a teetotaler. I've never had issues with alcohol, but I had to go to that place of becoming drunk 24 hours a day, in which manifested this guy would drink, fall asleep, wake up, drink again, fall asleep. So the journey was deep, and it was dark and deep, and just, I got another gift. I've gotten these gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good one. It was a good one.
You mentioned, we have more to peruse through here, but you mentioned character actor, and not only stage, but television. Some of our favorite television series you've had an opportunity to be a part of as well. We have a little video we want to show here, the reel number 1, to show you in action doing what you do so well, Lee. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll come back and chat about it. And you'll probably recognize him in some of these fantastic roles, gang. Here is Lee doing his thing.
To deliver these historic tax cuts. There's never been tax cuts like what we're talking about. We will cut.
Stop.
This party's about to get lit.
Weed? I want to give it a try. I read an article in the Times about a marriage where I was so bad I feel like I'm curling up.
I don't think it's a good idea, Grandma.
Gary!
Made in
You
the
turn that
USA.
down, your father would turn over in his grave if he heard that idiot jabbering in his house.
It's my house now.
That's so...
Cancer weed, who's in?
Sure, what the hell, I'm in.
But not in the house.
Okay, fine. Come on, Grandma, let's go outside.
Seriously? What if she freaks out or falls?
Where you can let go. Perfect. There it is. Oh. How was that?
I don't know.
Somebody in the 70s told me I'd be smoking a robot.
Saul, you're gonna get us all arrested.
Step off my balls, Ruth. There's no fuzz out this early. Oh, red-breasted nuthatch, 2 o'clock.
Oh, gorgeous little fucker. Yeah, these are really nice ladies, okay? They've never done anything like this before, so don't be an asshole, okay? Don't be a fucking weirdo. And don't be late, okay? God damn it.
I mean, I'll get there when I can, man. It's a pretty busy day for me.
420, weird voice, dude.
Hey, who the fuck is that? You think I don't know that, dipshit?
You want a song?
Oh, yes. That would be ideal.
Any song?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, dealer's choice. Oh.
If I were king of the forest, not queen, not duke, not prince, my regal robes of the forest would be satin, not cotton, not chintz. I'd command each thing, be it fish or fowl, with a woof and a woof and a royal growl. As I'd click my heels, all the trees would kneel, and the mountains bow, and the bulls kowtow, and the sparrow would take wing. If I working. I'm coming. I'm right here. Oh, maybe this will get me some work.
Fabulous. That's fabulous. Yeah. The variety too. When you see that, you see the body of work. What runs through your veins? What how are you feeling when you see that?
it's taken me a long time to acknowledge that I kind of I'm an okay actor, and that I do like to I like I've always I've gotten somewhat pegged. I did in LA, I mentioned it, nerd. Seymour, nerd. I think that's followed me around. That's the way it goes sometimes. And I've wanted to do some more, some kind of, well, regional stuff. I'd love to do Western cowboy stuff. I mean, I play the banjo. I'm a country boy, but I'm confident of that I have range. It's taken a long time that I have some range.
You do.
And
we have more evidence.
I'm happy that I do. I mean, it's important to me. And I always have fought very hard to explore it. And I used to say to my agents, I would prefer not to. I am not somebody that like makes, demands. I do not want to do a musical and then another musical and another musical. I want to mix it up. I've left a lot of shows probably a little too early because I like variety. And sometimes it's bit me in the bottom financially. I probably should have stayed literally Broadway shows because something else came up that wasn't as lucrative. Back when I was busy and occasionally went from show to show.
Were you chasing something?
Was I chasing something? I've never. I mean, it's been important to me to make try to make a living. I wanted to be there for my daughter and help her. I went on the road for 16, 17 months doing Wicked to pay for college. I didn't want her to have that burden when she was an undergraduate. So I did not go into show business to become rich, but I think I wanted a little bit of recognition and notoriety. And that's really, I'm a little embarrassed. I kind of wanted to be famous, not famous, but I don't know.
Respected for the work.
Well, that when all is said and done, I would prefer that.
Yes, me too.
And it surprises me to hear that some people respect what I do. It actually does.
A lot of people do. You're very humble. A lot of people do.
It's my and I don't think it's an act.
No.
It's just I'm a little surprised at it because my own issues, let's say, of esteem, my self-esteem issues that I've worked hard on. But it's nice to know that there are people that I'm going to say something. It's been hard for me. I have not had a job for 2.5 years. Now, part of it, of course, was COVID and part of it was cancer. But I've auditioned a lot and I haven't had a job. And it's been really, really hard. It really bums me out sometimes.
Is a lot of your self-worth tied into what you do?
I'm afraid that sometimes, yes.
And is taking on these roles and a way to escape from yourself and exhibit aspects of yourself in these characters that you might not exhibit as Lee in everyday life?
Not consciously, but I do like to go beyond who I am. Yeah. I like to go explore. I watched a documentary. Oh gosh. you had mentioned about when I had the cancer and the tracheotomy that I, losing a voice box. The Val Kilmer documentary. He had throat cancer, and
yes,
he really can't speak anymore.
I know.
I mean, he can, but it's not the way he used to, and he sadly eats through a feeding tube.
Yeah,
it's very sad, but he's so brave, and I mean, he's adjusted to it beautifully, but he had thousands and thousands and thousands of recordings. He'd go around with a camera. He had thousands of hours of recordings, and one was an acting class, and the acting teacher said something so profound, because somebody said, I don't know what it's like to, I think they said, want to kill myself. And the acting teacher, his name was Sam Cass. His son was, I think, briefly my agent, Robbie Cass. And he said, there's not one emotion, not one thing, not one emotion that you have not experienced in some way. Maybe you haven't wanted to kill yourself, but you've been bereft. You've been... So what he was trying to say was, you cannot say, I've never felt that way. You've actually felt some element of every emotion. And I used to deny that I haven't had this certain experience, and I couldn't really go to that place. But the mind is a very kind of, we've all been through a lot. And just because you haven't been through that specific thing, you have experienced loss. Maybe you didn't lose maybe you still have your parent. It's hard for me to describe, but I finally acknowledged that if I give myself permission, I can do things that I used to say, well, I can't do that as an actor, but I don't think I'm making myself very clear. But
you used to shoot the plane down before it had a chance to take off.
That's right.
Yeah,
that is right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and you've learned to not do that, to go easy, to go easier on yourself, to say, you know what? Who's to say I can't do that? I haven't done it before, so let me give it a shot. This has been a real journey for you in many different ways on many different levels.
It's been, yeah, and I didn't quite take the time to experience it. I've really been chasing something for a long time, and I'm trying not to. I'm just trying.
Have you found it?
Have I found
what you've been chasing?
No, because I've been chasing something that is unattainable because of the nature of being alive. And I've realized that what I've been chasing, I don't really need it to be fulfilled and almost happy.
Isn't it amazing how that works? The things that we chase that we think are so vital and important in the earlier years when we're just coming out of the gate, and then you look back and you're kind of like, that really wasn't that big a deal or that important, or that really wouldn't have amounted to much. And then other things that are usually more basic and simpler and more precious they sort of rise to the surface. And it sounds like for you in many ways, that has happened in a beautiful way.
It's starting to happen. I just, I hope I'm not repeating myself. I had to go back to Ohio where I was diagnosed and dealt with my cancer. Last week, I had a follow-up. I have to go back every 4 months for them to check it out, and I was cancer-free. But my daughter lives in Columbus, Ohio. That's where I had to go. And I got to spend almost a week with my wife and daughter. My daughter shuts her business. She's a baker. She shuts her business the beginning of January because it's just very slow. And we got to spend 5 days with my daughter at her house. That used to be my house. We sold it to her.
Nice.
And she wasn't going to work every day, and she was spending all her time with us. And that's just everything to me. That's more important. Any show.
Yes.
Or any. I love the work, but I enjoyed. I mean, I've taken. Not that I feel like I was a pretty good dad. Sometimes I put the work ahead of some things that chasing after it, but my family is more important than any show that I've ever done.
The love is there, the love's intact, and that's what matters most.
It really, yeah, it is. It really is.
Of all the characters you've played, we have some more to talk about. Do you have a personal favorite? Is there one that is your favorite and one that is most like Lee? And they don't have to necessarily be the same thing.
Well, I say Sam Byck was my favorite, but I'm not sure that was my favorite show to do. And I love playing Sam Byck. Let me think. I did, gosh, I can't think of the name. I'm going to think of it. It's by George Kaufman and Ring Lardner. Oh my goodness. I can't think of the name of the play.
You want to phone a friend?
No, it's a Ring Lardner play. I did it with the drama department, and I played a really crazy songwriter back in I think it took place in the 30s. Cynthia Nixon was in it, and it was just an amazing cast. And I've gotten to do, I think I've done, well, I did The Odd Couple with Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick. And I did this play, play that I just mentioned, a George Kaufman play. And these guys, you don't have to worry about the words.
Is it Finding Life in 1929?
No, God darn it. This is embarrassing. But it may pop into my head. It's just I can't remember everything all the time. So getting to do a George Kaufman play and a Neil Simon play, you have, I say this, maybe somebody else said it and I'm mimicking them. It's
Curiosity?
Pardon me?
Curiosity?
No, you have the solidest foundation. You do not have to worry about the words because they're such brilliant craftsmen. And that play that I can't think of the name of, I played a crazy songwriter, and I had maybe the best time I've ever had. I mean, Assassins was the best time I had because of the cast. This is the best time I had on stage because I do like getting laughs. I mean, I like doing drama.
Is it June Moon?
That's right. That's right. June Moon.
Yes.
June Moon, man, it's just such a great play.
Now I'm surprised our friend June Rachelson Aspa didn't figure that one out, because that's we have that nickname for her, June Moon.
Oh,
That's
you
what I
do?
call it. Yeah, June Moon. Yeah, there she is. She said family is number one. She's watching from Maryland as well. So June Moon, yeah.
Yeah,
I
June
knew I
Moon.
was thinking and thinking and thinking. I said,
Oh
it's
man,
gotta
I had
be
a good time doing that, and that
June
was.
Moon.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I've had a lot of parts that I loved playing. I loved playing one of the gangsters in Kiss Me Kate.
Yes.
That was really fun, and I got cast. I auditioned for Kiss Me Kate. They would not give us the whole script. We got sides, and one could not find that script. I couldn't find it anywhere. Now this was 1999. Probably now you go on the internet, you can find a PDF of
You
it.
can find it. Yeah.
Impossible to find. I read my scenes; they were great. And I got cast in it, and people said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm playing Man One, Gangster One, in Kiss Me Kate." They said, "Oh my God, do you have any idea what a great part this is?" And I went, "Actually, no, I don't, because I only saw the scene I auditioned for." They're such great parts. And then, and I've never had this before, you get the 11 o'clock number right here, Brush Up Your Shakespeare. And the choreographer was Kathleen Marshall, and I met her when I did She Loves Me. She was assisting her brother, Rob Marshall. And that was that was like 93, and then I worked with her, well, not that much longer, about 7 or 8 years. She choreographed it. And I can move. It takes a long time. It takes me a long time. The first day when I do a musical and I have a number to choreograph, I'm not making this up. I go home and I cry because I will never learn this. But I always do. But the first day of this, doing Brush Up Your Shakespeare, I cried. But Kathleen Marshall, she knew me. She'd known me, and I'd done other things with her. And she tailored it to my partner and I. I think, I really believe that maybe she had something else planned, possibly, but she saw what we could do, and she created such a brilliant number. I didn't create it, she did. And the director, Michael Blakemore of the show, he actually handed me each line. He didn't do line readings. I just needed help with this one. And I got so lucky with this one. This was so lucky. I didn't really know the show. And to get to play one of those guys, it was really. And then I left early. Why did I think? Oh, I went and did a film in Bulgaria about the Holocaust. And I had to do that. I left the show long before it closed, but I had to do the film.
We have another video clip here showing you in your action. And for anybody, if there's any children, just take them out of the room. A little language in there a little bit, but again, all part of the characters.
I didn't write it.
You didn't write it. That's right. I just
speak.
You just speak.
Interpret the written word.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Here it is, gang. More of Lee Wilkof, our very special guest, veteran Broadway, television, film, Tony, and Drama Desk, and Obie nominated actor, as well director and writer too. It's focusing a lot on his acting prowess, but also a brilliant director and writer as well. Here's some more of him in action exclusively here on the Jim Masters Show Live. It's so great to have everybody watching around the world.
I told you, boy. There's a trick around every corner in this building.
Look at this.
Hey. It's the keys. You got your main building, the B&D wings, and building C's off limits, like I told you.
Perfecto.
Alarm clicks on 8 p.m. sharp. After that, you're stuck all night.
Oh, we're not going anywhere. Not until we finish what we came to do.
This ain't no goddamn ghost hunter show, boy. You got that? There's history here. A lot of it. You keep your eyes open, you might just find your picture show. Is that your Marianne?
Sweet S is our script girl.
Who's Marianne?
That bozo didn't tell you? She's the one this whole hullabaloo's about. She's the one that went missing 43 years ago.
She died here?
Some think so. Others think she's very much alive.
What do you think?
I don't.
You know what that is? That's a cutie pie picture, Mr. Capelli.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah. And you're right about the tobacco companies. I agree with him. I agree with that character. Yes. Extraordinary range, extraordinary diversity, and really just taking on incredible. Maureen's in Arizona. She goes, "Yikes! I'd be afraid. I'd be afraid to act opposite you. You're amazing, intimidating, but amazing."
Intimidating, very. No one's ever said that. Thank you. Thank you.
Jen
That's
watching in
very
Pennsylvania says awesome. And of course, June in Maryland, fantastic clips. What a journey. Really, really fantastic. And Terry Ann Lee, thank you for sharing your stories, your movies, personal story about how important family is with throat cancer as well. That story. Pray you will continue to be blessed in your endeavors.
Thank you.
Very beautiful. I have several more different things that I want to show and sprinkle in. And maybe when we show these, you can explain to us what we're seeing like this here.
That's Sam Byck from
Yeah.
Assassins. And what he did was he would send they would start out kind of sweet voice recordings. He would have a small tape recorder. He'd send them to celebrities, and then he'd completely freak out. And Sam Byck was crazy, and his plan was to hijack a plane and crash it into the White House. And he actually went and got on a plane with a gun, killed the pilot, and then went back into the plane and said, "Can somebody help me fly this plane?" And then he was killed by sharpshooters outside the vehicle. And that was Sam Byck doing one of his crazy monologues. That's She Loves Me, that I did with the great Boyd Gaines, who won a Tony for that performance. And that's a really lovely, based on a film called Shop Around the Corner. That was really when I first moved back to New York for good from Los Angeles. That's the show I got, and that's kind of what started the ball rolling. And it was just a little gem of a production, not a little gem, a gem of a production. And it was really, I was back in New York, and I was not out west chasing. I was doing theater, which is what, I'm not saying what I'm meant to do, but it's where I'm most comfortable for a lot of reasons. The thing about theater is you get to rehearse. Movies, you're lucky if you rehearse a day or two, and TV, a couple days. But if you don't have results the second day on the sitcom,
and you're out.
Yeah. That is a still from me directing the great, wonderful actor, equally wonderful human being, Gabriel Byrne, in the film that I directed called No Pay Nudity, which came out a few years ago, still available on Amazon Prime and a few other spots. It is a film about, it takes place, for those people that are aware of it, it doesn't really exist in the same way, the Equity Actors Equity Lounge, where people used to hang out, have auditions there and kind of kill time. And I don't like to say this, but it used to be known to some people as the Losers Lounge. And there would be people that I never saw them in anything. They spent all their time there. And there was a point in my life where I went there, used to go there when I lived in Connecticut. I lived there for 3 years while my wife was in school. And then I didn't go back for 15 years. And in that interim, I saw people there. And 15 years later, I saw the same people. Not the same kind of people, the same people. And I went, I think there's a movie here. And Gabriel played this actor that had a bit of a career, and it kind of, he aged out and was really going through a lot of struggles. So No Pay Nudity, which the New York Times, they didn't review the film, but they did say it was the best title of the year. No Pay Nudity, when I used to start out in the business, we'd get the trades every Thursday, and they would often say, no pay, nudity required. Meaning not only you're not getting paid, but you're asked to be naked and not get paid. Well, I didn't audition for anything where I had to be naked. And I worked for no pay, but never.
But not
so that was like, a few people were, what the hell does this title mean? But actually in the film, Nathan Lane is in it. He's fantastic, wearing a really fantastic fat suit. And he explains, he's looking through the trades with this young kid, and he goes, oh, no pay, nudity required. So finally, people understood about an hour into the film what the hell the title meant.
What that meant.
The producers did not want me to name it No Pay Nudity because it was obscure. But the New York Times said, best title of the year. So,
and of course, we saw that earlier, which again is
right?
really fantastic.
Right. This is a film, a play. I did it Playwrights Horizons called Grand Concourse. And it was about a soup kitchen in a church run by this nun, played by Quincy Tyler Bernstein. Beautiful actress, just so beautiful. And Esminia Mendes is a young lady in it. And I played a guy that would come there. And he was, I would say, Frog was his name, schizophrenic. And it was, I really liked that journey that I got to take. He was a mess and very dangerous, physically menacing, and I didn't get to do that kind of stuff that often. And it was really, again, another gift. Absolutely. And this was me as the wizard in Wicked, which I did on the road I did the national tour for 9 months, and then I did San Francisco for 7 months. And it was a tricky one. Again, Assassins.
Another great shot too.
Yeah, great shot. And that is that was taken after the very first performance ever of the off-Broadway production of Little Shop of Horrors. And there's the late Howard Ashman, who wrote it and directed it. Alan Menken, choreographer, and Ellen Green. And there is me with my secret girlfriend who I met on the show named Connie Grappo. And that's the first show. That's right after the first performance. And that is a really cool picture. Some of these people are gone now.
Yeah.
And that was
fabulous.
That was an amazing night the first time we did it.
Oh yeah.
And see these little puppets. This is the dead people after Audrey 2 eats them.
Yeah.
Faces would be in the plant, and eventually, when we did it off Broadway, a crew would manipulate them. But when we did it, we manipulated them.
Yeah.
And we had to wear these boots, these little shoes that looked like roots. They didn't look like roots. They were called root booties. And it was absolute nightmare, the root booties. I will never wear them again. But that's, what's this? Oh, this was Holiday Inn.
Yes.
That, I think that may be the last Broadway show. I did Waitress for a couple months.
Waitress.
I did this briefly, and then I left early to promote my film. And I didn't mind leaving it early. There again is
the other,
a grand concourse.
Some other things too. School of Rock you were involved in.
School of Rock.
Yeah.
That movie, I have to say, has been very, very good to me. The residuals have been spectacular because it's a movie since it has been a gift to me because it holds up generation after generation. I think the kids, when they were like 10 when we did it, they're like 40 now.
Yeah.
And Jack Black was great. I lucked out getting a couple weeks on that.
Yes. Yeah. That's a classic. It's become like there's a cult following.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
there's no pay nudity.
And there's no pay nudity.
It is that there, right? And here's another one digging back a little bit.
Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, that was the great, great, great Sidney Lumet's final film. And I had, I played the late, great, brilliant actor. I'm using the word brilliant and not loosely, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I got to work with Phil, and I actually knew him. I did a play with a girlfriend of his at the time. And he was fine man. And just a huge, horrifying, stupid Phil loss. Sorry.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry I said that, but he was a great actor, and I'm sorry that he
is no longer with us. Curb Your Enthusiasm as well.
I did an episode of that. Yeah. You had to improvise, and I'm not a good improviser. But I got to be around. I got to work the day I worked. I got to hang out with. We were in a trailer all day. It was really cool. It was before he was Stephen Colbert. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
I think I just worked a day. It was the season that I think Larry David was performing in The Producers, and I was in line getting a ticket. And I think he came from backstage and cut in front of me, and I was incensed and used curse words.
Law and Order as well.
Law and Order, I did that one. That's the last time I was on Law and Order, but I can't remember if I've done 6 of. I don't think I know I've done it at least 6 times. I might have done it 8 times.
I did
the very first season of the Mothership.
Yes.
And in the very last season of Law and Order, which is now coming back.
It is coming back. Yeah.
And they didn't ask me to be on it, but I'll probably do
one
one.
episode.
I may do one.
Court officer. They film it down in Chelsea Piers area in Lower Manhattan. Central Casting had called me out of the blue, and I got a chance to do an episode of the earlier versions, like you say, as a court officer in a court case that was happening in the courtroom. Very, very cool.
Always had a good time. And
a lot of professional crew and cast. And very, very tough.
I got to work with Jerry Orbach on one of them, and that was like,
that's gold.
Yeah, Jerry. Leaves of Grass. On my reel, the first one where I get beaten to death. That's a film called The Gray Zone about Auschwitz, And that was written and directed by Tim Blake Nelson. And Tim is a wonderful actor and a very gifted writer and director. And I did The Gray Zone. Then he put me in this, Leaves of Grass. What did I play? Oh, I played a professor, I think, at Harvard. And then he put me in another movie called Anesthesia. And the last play that I did before COVID was a play that he had written at the Public Theater called Socrates, which was about Socrates. And Tim has been very, very kind to me, and part of it, and that
really
that means a
incredible
lot to me. That I feel like he has like a you know, an ensemble. I can't think of a company, and he uses me, and that means a great deal to me because
absolutely
I have such respect for him, and he uses me. So, and I like being around him.
And the breadth of shows, Ally McBeal, Major Dad, and even the voice of a character on a Tom and Jerry kids cartoon.
Right before we left LA, probably about 6 months before we finally left LA, because it was something that I always wanted to do. I took an animation class, and I got my toe in the door. A very nice man named Gordon, let's just say Gordon. He's passed away. He cast me in a couple cartoons. And I actually believe it, because I would have pursued it with great vigor. If we'd have stayed in Los Angeles, I might have had just pursued, because I really enjoy it, doing cartoon voices.
Yeah.
And now that my voice is a little not as good as it used to be because of the cancer, I'm not sure I'll do them again, but I love doing them. You don't have to shave. Doesn't matter. You should bathe when you do one. But I've done a couple animated things, and I like it. I like it a lot, and I love cartoons. I grew up. I just love cartoons.
Yeah.
To be able to be on a cartoon was really cool.
And also even worked with Neil Patrick Harris back when it was Doogie Howser, MD, right?
Pardon me. Yes, Doogie Howser. I think he was like 12.
Yes. Dear John, that series too. I mean, you've been on a lot of television.
I did a lot.
Max Headroom.
I did Max Headroom. I did like 13 or 14 of those. I did. Here's one that I'm writing. I told you I'm writing my memoirs, and I bring this up a lot. I've written 100 pages. I probably brought it up like maybe 10 times. There was a show called, and I wonder if you've heard of it, called Here's Boomer. You ever heard of it? Here's Boomer.
Yes.
It was a dog. You could hear his thoughts.
Yes.
Nobody, I mean, I would work with the dog. I couldn't hear his thoughts, but the people watching the TV show could hear his thoughts.
Mm-hmm. That was back in 1981.
Yes.
You played Lester.
Yes. And I got to work with just a great character actor, Jack Elam. So in 1985, I was doing, as I mentioned, Sweet Charity in Los Angeles. And I pronounce it that way because in the movie The Grifters, Angelica Houston pronounces it Los Angeles, so I'm imitating her. But I did Sweet Charity, and one night after the show, we were in the green room, and they said, Cary Grant is coming to the show, coming in the green room. Do not approach him. Cary Grant is in the green room, and I'm not going to approach him. I walked right up to him. Of course, I'm going to approach him and say hello. I'm not going to harass him. I mean, he was in his 80s, but I wanted to say hi to him. It's Cary Grant. He says hello to me. He said, I love the show. And then he looked at me and he went, "Have we met before?" I went, "No." He said, "I know we've met before." And I said to him, I said, "Mr. Grant, if we'd met before, I would remember you." He said, "Well, I believe we met before." I said, "Do you watch a lot of bad television?" He said, "I actually do." I said, "Well, that's why you think you know me, because I've done so much bad television." And probably he saw me on Here's Boomer. I mean, I did some Drek. Oh,
there it is.
That was, I think his real name was Johnny, but I had to call him Boomer. He's very sweet. I have no memory. I remember we shot it down somewhere in Long Beach, something like that. But
what was it like working with Boomer? You know, they say working with animals and working with children, that's a whole new, you know, art form.
I remember. Oh, yes. It's just come back to me. It's just come back to me. You would be working, and because they would fill in his voice, it didn't matter what somebody said. They would take the sound away. And his name was Johnny in real life. And off camera, you would hear this from his trainer. "Johnny! Johnny! 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 Turn your head, Johnny!" It was just like, "Johnny! Johnny!" It was insane. It was insane.
Good thing there wasn't a kid on the set named Johnny, because the kid would have been scared out of his mind.
It was
interesting.
I've been able to talk about Here's Boomer for years, and I do not believe that I've ever met anyone that ever saw Here's Boomer.
It's funny because my sister and brother-in-law's dog, who looks like
he talks.
The name of the dog, Boomer.
Oh, really? I wonder, does it have anything to do with Here's Boomer?
I was going to say, it's like that's really amazing. Just the amount. It's incredible the amount of again shows that you mentioned, Heart to Heart, and so many others. Empty Nest.
Heart to Heart. I think I mentioned. I'm just supposed to do one. And he liked me, and it turned into 14. And I think I would have done more, but I went back and did Little Shop, and then I never did it again. And then, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, somebody I knew was a publicist, and he had written a book, and I went and found him at a bookstore in New York, and he didn't remember me. So
amazing.
And I think RJ is he's like 90 now. He was such a sweet man. He was really kind to me. He was responsible for me doing all those episodes.
All these episodes.
Really,
just Google his name, folks. You'll see all these things that Lee has been a part of for a long time, not just the prolific Broadway and off-Broadway career and theater career, but film and a lot of television as well. And if you are out there and you're a producer and you want to put together a sitcom, give Lee a call. It'll be full circle for Lee.
If you are a producer and you would like to produce a film, I've written another film with my writing partner, Ethan Sandler, and this one's called Teenage Wasteland. And I know I have some well-known names lined up for it. And if you have $1 million, or it would work better if we had two, please consider producing my film.
What else do you have coming up that we could look forward to that you might be excited to share with us here on the show? That's what I thought.
I'm writing. I told you.
That's
I'm writing my memoir.
Pregnant pause.
Did I say I'm writing my memoirs?
Yeah.
I'm writing my memoirs. I'm on page 100.
Page 100.
And I still have 35 years to go. My daughter was just born, and she's going to be 35 in March. So I still got 35 years to go. So it's possibly will be 800 pages. No, it's probably. I'm just enjoying writing it, and I don't know anything. I sent a couple excerpts to a Little Shop of Horrors fan the little shop section, and they had a good time. I'm writing that. I wrote a musical based on an incident that happened upstate New York several years ago about 4 brothers that lived together, and one of them died, and one of the brothers was accused of killing him. There was a documentary called Brother's Keeper, and I wrote a musical based on that incident.
That's fantastic.
And what else have I done? And
you see the comment that's on the screen, who it's from?
Sophia Wilkof. Hello, darling. Hello, sweetheart. That's my niece, my wonderful, talented niece. She's an actress and a stand-up comic, and she's really very talented.
We have to have her come on the show as a guest too. It would be great.
She's just kind of starting out, and she's
welcome to join us
because she's a very fine human being.
Like I was going to say, our show is about light, love, and levity. So, Sophia, you're welcome to join us as a guest on the show. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I did not know that. I wish you would tell me that once.
She's watching. Yeah, Jane is watching in Sweden, and Sherry says, "Thank you, Lee, for sharing your memories with us. Best wishes to you, your health, and your future endeavors."
Thank you.
Well. And
thank you.
Jane also is adding in, this has been a great show. Thank you, Lee, for being with us tonight. Thanks, Jim, for having this interesting man here. That's Jane watching in Sweden. Maureen in Arizona. Such a sensational career for a sensational human. May your star continue to shine brightly for years to come, Lee. Maureen watching, one of our Jim Master Show lovities, watching in Arizona. Sophia says, my role model. That's beautiful. Uncle Lee is the role model. That is beautiful. Isn't that nice? What are some of those blessings and joys in your life that continue to propel you forward to want to create and do all that you do, Lee?
I just really, the acting is really about the people that I get to work with and the journey that I get to take to create a role, and the story. I like to be part of telling a story, so that I would still want to do that. The film directing, I'm not sure I'm going to direct another film. I would like to, but somebody said to me a couple weeks ago, they said, the first one you carry on your back. And I had to get it made. I had to. This one, I'd like to get it made, but if I don't get it made, that's okay. I hope I get to keep acting, and I hope I get to swim in my swimming pool.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to, I like to travel, and one of the places that we plan to travel is, my wife and I are going to make a trip when, God willing, we feel comfortable enough to travel to Sweden and
very nice.
Norway and Finland. And
very nice.
So we want to go to Scandinavia. But we go to New Orleans for Jazz Fest every year. I hope they have it this year. I like to travel, but I like to work. And this has been really fun and inspiring. You have inspired me, Jim, because you are decent and kind and inquisitive, and means a lot to me. Thanks for asking me.
Oh, my pleasure.
I really have to go eat dinner.
Me too. I'm starving. I hope the show did meet whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Lee. It was really wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And somebody here that just wanted to say goodnight. Here he is, kind of coming in. Mr. George Burns is in the house. And there he is with his cigar. He said, you knocked it out of the park, kiddo. He enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks a lot.
Never got a chance to work with him, did you?
No, I was in an elevator once with him, and I said something to him, and he acted like I had punched him in the nose. He just was like, I think he wanted to be like left alone, and I interrupted his solitude.
His solitude.
And I went, I like that he, you don't have to like turn it on. He didn't want to. He didn't. I always thought he was hilarious.
He was, yeah,
To
absolutely.
Jack Benny.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
This was spectacular. Spread the word about our show, our series. It's quite unique what we do here.
Yes.
And it was really an honor and a pleasure to have you. And
Thank you.
You're welcome back anytime. We'll keep the porch light on for you, Lee. And again, thank you so much for spending this time with us, with myself and all of our viewers, the lovities watching around the world. Really, some who know of your work expressing they got a chance to learn a little bit more about the man behind it all. And I think that was beautiful today.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
You
Stay safe. Stay safe. Be well.
This is a foodie crowd. What are you going to have for dinner tonight? That's what everybody really wants to know.
When I lived in Columbus, Ohio for 2 years, there was a one, it wasn't a chain. It was a really great grocery store, and they made prepared food, and most of it was okay. But they made eggplant parmesan, which went really fast. And I was just in Columbus last week, and I went there and I bought as many as they had, and we froze them and brought them home, and I'm going to have that for dinner.
Columbus is a great city. I was on a TV shoot in Columbus about 2 years ago, and it was
really nice city.
Yeah, I was interviewing the head of this big engineering and architectural firm that was responsible for a lot of the revitalization that's happened in Columbus, which has been quite beautiful as well. It's a great American city.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to spend a couple years there.
So eggplant parmesan, is that what you're having tonight, basically?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna. I hope. I told my wife to put it in the. We're living in a little loft as our house is being renovated. I'm in my office in the house, but in the loft there's a toaster oven.
Oh, very good.
It'll be ready. What time is it? It's like 9:02. It'll be ready about midnight. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
You take care, Lee.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Jim.
dinner. It was a pleasure, truly.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Lee Wilkof is heading off to dinner, and so are we. I am starving. What a great show. We had so much content and so much information here, and we had a wonderful time. Tony, as well as Obie, and Drama Desk nominated actor. He's been doing this for many years. He's a veteran of the industry, Broadway, television, some of your favorite television shows, film, and so much more. A real pleasure to have him on our show. And as always, a real pleasure to have you on our show as well, watching from around the world. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. Click the notification bell so you never miss any of the amazing episodes of our series. We thank Lee, and we thank all of you for joining us here on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. We'll be back with another great guest. If you're watching us live, we'll be back tomorrow night. Don't miss it. We've got incredible guests coming up. We're so excited about it. And also, if you're not watching this live, you're watching it later on in the archives, well, stay right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Another great episode comes up. As a matter of fact, there's over 600 episodes that you can watch and binge watch of our amazing series with guests from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, sports, comedy, culinary arts, inspiration, and much, much more. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Jim, for another wonderful evening. Enjoy your supper. We're having sloppy joes. I can't wait. And fabulous show. Now go eat dinner. Thank you, Maureen, always looking out for me. Here's Boomer. Was wonderful. From Jane in Sweden. And Jen says, such a fun show tonight. XOXO from June as well. And Kathleen Walker in New York City. Great show. Thank you, Jim. Have a great night. Good night, all. We say, for those that are watching this in the morning, the noon, or the night, they're saying, why are they saying good night? That's the audience that's watching our series live saying good night, because it is 9 o'clock at night here Eastern at the time of the show. But if you're watching this any time of the day, we hope you're enjoying. And we'll have more for you here on our series. So stick with us. You guys be well. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jim Masters. We wish you, again, nothing but the best. And stick with us here. A lot of great epic shows coming up for you right here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Take care and be well. And cheers.